Hello DLE and YouTube. This is your new player helper and moderator Jason here with part 2 of the Blue Eyes visual build guide. So to recap off from last time from part 1, we ended off with this sort of a list, main deck here, and I also went ahead and got the Michael the Archlightsworn, which is a very worthwhile target for Blue Eyes Spear Dragon, and also I redeemed the UR Dream Ticket on Vermilion Dragon Mech because this is a card that, for the Blue Eyes deck I believe, you definitely will want because it's a very utility-based level 9 synchro that you will want in case you need removal, and the box it's in originally is now no longer very good. So I went ahead and did all those things. Another thing I also did off screen from last time was get to Seto Kaiba to level 45 because we need Melody of Awakening Dragon, which is a very key card to increase the consistency of the Blue Eyes deck. So now let's make some changes to this list. Another card that I also got while off screen was Karma Cut. So let's get Karma Cut in first. So what I'm going to remove from here is Ultimate Providence, a Hollow Life Barrier, and then put in the 3 Karma Cuts. Just at least, right? So with this, might want to, actually I might want to bump it up even more. Can't forget the Melody of Awakening Dragon because you need that to bump the consistency of the deck for as much as possible. So I've seen some people drop the trap completely and play 20 cards out of this and just use the Karma Cuts as their main form of defense. You're free to experiment, see how you like it. And then also another thing I've got off screen while from last time was the Hieratic Exceed monster. Just 1 copy. It's very nice because when you read its effect, it doesn't target at all for its effects, so that really helps deal with untargetable boss monsters in the future, even now, or just get rid of problematic threats. So I think if you want to take it to 20, you can cut the Ultimate Providences, but otherwise I think this is a fairly good list on its own. So this is like very decent just for like strict just minor upgrades and, well, the core upgrades and the minor upgrades that you need to do. Well, I wouldn't say Melody is a minor upgrade, it is actually quite a major upgrade just because consistency is king in this game. So for the new players that just, you know, just got the deck and all that, you know, like these are like, I think this will get you very far, just even on the ladder. However, I went one step ahead and also played in a tournament with this not too long ago. So I tried a very controversial list. I went ahead and, so yes, you see the Book of Moon, you see the Dragolon. I did go ahead and dip into the selection box a little bit, just not very much, just a little bit, but this is not something I recommend you guys do. I'll just say the balance list was not very good, personally. It didn't fix much of the consistency issues that Blue Eyes already had, and just didn't really contribute much better. And I'll show the side deck. This was the side deck. I sort of rushed this together, and truth be told, I'm not very happy about it. So I will, let's see here. first thing I would have taken out is those Skullmeisters, even though they didn't do too bad at all. And I put in debunks. Just know, debunk, DNA Surgery, and Chaos Hunter are all available from the card trader. So these are very accessible side deck cards. The enemy controller is obviously free to play. You can get those very easily. Now, in the case of a tournament ready list, I'll go over more of that later in the video, but I do want to show some replay results. Okay, let's review the tournament gameplay that I had in the recent battle phase. So I'm going to start off with the first round Cyber Dragon match. The only game I was able to save was game 3 of the Cyber Dragon match, so we'll use what we can to analyze and see what we did well and didn't do well throughout all the 5 rounds that of whatever I could save. So I'm going second. That might not be that's a good sign. So you see this opening hand. This is a fairly good opening hand, going first or second, I think. You have a trap card, you have a spell, and you have a tuner to discard with a cards of constant, so that's pretty good. So I'm fairly blessed that he only set 1 back row and did nothing, so that for me is very, very good. So the Book of Moon doesn't matter. I discard draw 2 and activate Ancient Ruins because I wanted to scout out what the back row was, before I did anything. Right, so Dragon Spirit of White with that, Cyber Dragon Overflow, good on us. So we're going to set up fairly defensively. Synchro Shokan into a Splice Spirit Dragon in defense mode. The reason why I went in defense mode was to not give him Cyber Style, because 2,000 life or less, then he gets to activate Cyber Style, so I didn't want to give him that, so we played fairly defensively. So Summon Blue Eyes with the effect of the White Snow Ancients. Now, why did he scoop right away? Because during his end phase, I could tag out the Spirit Dragon into a Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, and the Azure Eyes Silver Dragon would already give my Dragon's protection, and it's already more than enough for lethal damage, assuming his hand was absolutely nothing. So let's go into round 2 against Goki. So Crow Hogan, when I first saw this, I wasn't sure if it was Black Wings or it would be a level duplication deck, God forbid. So it turns out it was Balance, right? So I opened this hand and I'm already like, oh crap, Balance is not assured. And also it's a fairly slow opening hand, right? So 3 back row, he doesn't have a monster to summon. I'm like, okay, that might be a good thing for us, right? But I summoned the Sage, hoping to get its effect. I run into a Phoenix Chain. I'm like, no, this is pretty bad. So set the Canadian and proceed. So he top decks the Twist Cobra. So we're trying to counter back, and we have to give him the Suplex, unfortunately there. So back to my opponent. Suplex. So I'm still not 100% sure if this was a mistake or not, right? Because the intention was to deny him the Twist Cobra play follow-up, right? If he's gonna boost something to 34 and nothing more, or even. Actually, no. Deny him the Twist Cobra play completely. The intention was that, but I don't think that was the correct play, now that I think about it. But because of that, the enemy controller and I get sacked. So game 1 goes to Goki. Game 2... So again, we both reveal balance. So this hand is okay. It's not like great. I believe the set was a Karma Cut. The Skullmeister is nice against Goki because if you stop their search affecting them once, they can slow down pretty badly, right? So he plays the Necro Valley, and for Blue Eyes, Necro Valley is not that bad because the only thing that they worry about for Necro Valley in the graveyard is the White Stone of Ancients, the graveyard effect, right? Otherwise, Blue Eyes is fine for the most part without the graveyard. So Karma Cut right away to deny him the follow-up. So it turns out it was only a Suprex, so end phase, Dragon Spirit White. You got rid of the Ballista Squad, that's pretty nice. So another Ballista Squad, sheesh. It's like how many Ballista Squads I need to see. Now, the Skullmeister here comes in really clutch because you stop that Golki search flow already. He's in a top decking situation, right? So we still have 2 cards to his 1 card that he still needs to really deal with. So now, Blue Eyes off the top, really nice. Back row. Sage off the top, really nice. So we're gonna Synchro Shokan into another Spirit Dragon. So we tried Type for Lethal, Spirit Dragon, but the Spirit Dragon tags out into the Azure Eye Soul Dragon, and I don't think he can deal with that, so game goes to us. So game 3, decisive game against the Gokis. We win this one, but we're gonna see how we do it. We're going first, that's a very good sign for us. Both revealing balance.
Duel.
Oh no. I apologize, that was the same replay. Or was that the game 2? Let me see. No, we're going second. I apologize. Game 3, we went second. Well, both revealing balance.
Duel.
Well, this is not a bad hand, assuming we're going first, but we have to face 3 back row and a Suprex, so I was kind of worried about that maybe one of those 3 back rows is a Phoenix Chain, but he reveals a Canadia here. Now, I believe that the Canadia was a misplay, because the Canadia doesn't really stop me from getting my search, right? The only thing it does is just stop me from making a Synchro Shokan, right? Nothing more than that. So, Canadia sets my my Sage, and I still get the White Stone of Ancients. I have the Cards of Consonance for follow-up. And what do I draw? An Ancient Rules into a Dragon Spirit of White. So again, really good to pick off his back row. That's the plan here. Flips up another Canadia, and then we tag the Dragon Spirit of White to make it useless in short. So he gets a Scorpio. We're not scared here at all. Another White Stone of Ancients gets us another Blue Eyes. So we have 2 Blue Eyes for him to stare down at. He's already in he was already in a very bad position, but the Canadia, another Canadia, flips it down, back to us. So we go into a Spirit Dragon. Another Spirit Dragon. We deny the graveyard effect of a Scorpio, because, you know, denying is pretty nice. And we try to attack for lethal, but Book of Moon. So again, we're still in a fairly strong position here. So the intention of my Spirit Dragon was to, so you're gonna see here, the intent was to, if it was a battle trap, right, so the Silver Dragon would protect me, you know, from, so I wanted to make it go through, right, but turns out it wouldn't have gone through either way. So So I still play defensively, but the fact that he already is out of resources gives us the game. Okay, so let's do round 3 against heroes. So we win 2-0, but let's see how we won those games. So when I saw Astro Phoenix, I wasn't completely sure, you know, if it was heroes or it was balance or something, right?
Duel.
But the fact that he doesn't reveal a skill is already good for us. We had a slow hand to start off with, but we had set the stone and 2 traps, then Stratos. Stratos into Ferris, and from there he does his hero combos, right? Discards the Malicious into Ferris. So I think most people would have tried to stop them like right at the Vion, but I think it, thankfully I didn't stop him right there. Like, you know, that was probably correct to not stop him right there. I think to better stop them is when they commit into bigger plays like this one. Well, again, I still play the waiting game. It makes the Adoration malicious. Now, his attack order to me is incorrect. If you know from the TCG, your attack order should be smallest to biggest generally. Sometimes maybe using the middle size monster, like 1900, is already good enough to beat over, and then you still have, I take lethal damage, so 800 to 28 to 36, 4, and then you follow up with mass change or something, you know, at least you have more damage already, right? But that attack order, it is what it is, right? So form change, Adoration into Koga, so that's where we deny him with the Canada, and that proves to be very, very beneficial in the next turn after that. White Stone of Ancients into Dragon Spirit of White, so remove his back row, which was a Book of Moons, thank the lords. Almost summon a White Stone of Ancients, Synchro Shokan into a... It was a Vermilion Dragon Mech. It was a Vermilion Dragon Mech, right. So, banish Stone to get rid of the Koga, because I did not want the Koga to come back and haunt me later. Right there, he already had the increase in the graveyard, you know, it is what it is. And so another Blue Eyes. But I wasn't sure of his follow-up plays, right? But the fact that when he used the increase to summon the another increase, he didn't summon a second Vion, I was like, oh, he probably only plays the one Vion and one Trunade. So that already gives us the W right there. He's already out of gas at that point. Also, the fact that I deny him the Celestial in... Sorry, not the Celestial. The Malicious to Celestial in Graveyard is also huge because he doesn't have follow-up from there. So you're going to see that that play is quite important to deny your opponent the correct resources in their graveyard. So we're going second, fairly fortunate for us again. Because Heroes is a deck that wants to go second, not go first. So he starts off with Stratos and Ferris, so the hero combo. Pardon me. It goes into Vion, sets up the Celestial, and ends his turn there. So ending your turn there as a hero player is not bad. With the back row, it's not bad. Like, you know, you have three monsters to defend you. I know some of the Sage, get the White Stone of Ancients. So the fact that opening the Melody is already huge here. So I get the alternative. Now, I knew I didn't want the increase in the graveyard, so I basically put everything else in the graveyard but the increase. So on the Spirit Dragon, I take out the Vion leave the increase there. So the fact that I had the Spear Dragon is still pretty huge. Now Karma Cut, that take out the increase, that was pretty good. Because turns out he had no resources. I was trying to draw into more with the Celestial, but the Spear Dragon denying that play. He's pretty much done. So after those first 3 rounds, we were 3-0, so we were off to a very strong start. But unfortunately after that, that's where it goes downhill. So I will show the round 4 and round 5 replays just to give you guys a glimpse. I find you learn better from your losses than your wins. Sometimes you can learn from your losses better, but sometimes you just get sacked, and you're gonna see we get sacked in this one. So Cyber Dragon's going second. That's good for them, bad for us. And the fact that we open a very slow hand is already a death sentence. So he has the combo to already go off an OTK, it seems like. Yeah, so Canadian to 1. So he had the Cyber Load Fusion to follow up, and that's already a death sentence for us. But we just want to make sure he had lethal, and he has more than lethal than he thinks. So game 1 goes to Cyber Dragons. Let's check game 2.
Duel.
So again, we're going second. That's good for us, not good for Cyber Dragons, but he could set up with the Cybernetic Overflow potentially. Cyber Style into Fusion Gate. Fusion Gate, he makes 1 Rampage Dragon to start, and then Fusion Support, Cyber Twin Dragon, 1 back row. So this is a fairly decent board to stare off of, at least. So what I wanted to do was at least, with this opening hand, at least bait out the back row just to see what it was, right? Ancient Rules into Dragon Spirit of Light. He does not activate the Cybernetic Overflow. Okay, I'm relieved of that. So, but he could have used the Cybernetic Overflow. He could have. So swing into the Rampage Dragon and then follow up with the Blue Eyes. Now, I wasn't sure at this point, so I believe my setback was a Karma Cut. I was like, okay, it's Fusion Gate and to Fusion Support, so I was wondering what he could do at this point. He pays again for the Fusion Support, so he gets the 1 Fusion Summon at least from the graveyard. Makes another Rampage Dragon. Okay? Now, I'm just like, if that last card in his hand is dead, basically nothing he can do with it, I pretty much win the game right there, right? So, Karma Cut to stop that, and put Canadian's form of insurance. Turns out, it was a Cyber Load Fusion, and he had the gas to just follow up. Chimeric Over Dragon. And we get sacked. Unfortunate. So our last round is against Invoke Neos. And we're gonna see what we could have done better, or, you know, see how this interacts. So we're going seconds, that's already not good for us. Because Invoke Neos is a deck that wants to go first. Now, this hand I can already tell is not very good. The main target that I want off the Melody of the Awakening Dragon is already in my hand, and that's already a bad sign. Opponent starts off Neos Fusion. He has a very strong start. I'd say decently strong from the first impressions, right? But then just sets a monster. I'm like, okay, maybe I can deal with this one depending on what I draw. It's only a Canadian. I'm like, okay, maybe. So I was hoping that that set monster was a ouster. Turns out no, it was a window. Set 2 back row and just have to pass because there's nothing I can do from there. The volcanic shell plays. Ouster into invocation. Invocation into a Purgatrio. So fire reloads for 2. Already very, very strong for him. Gets back the Alistair. So I only have 1 trap to stop the monsters, right? So I can only stop really the Purgatrio. He uses the Alistair to get rid of the alternative. Window. Now, by then, because it was not a tuner and it was only a trap, I was already, no, this duel's not worth playing out. So I basically lost. All right, so let's do the second game, which unfortunately I lose, but let's see what we can learn from this. So again, we reveal balance.
Duel.
Again, we're going second, which is not good for us. Although this hand is okay, it would have been better going first, but it is what it is. Neos Fusion into a Neos. Fiery loads for 2. Sets a monster, 2 back row. He's in a very comfy position. So I try my luck with the Whitestone Ancients. Fortunately, not very good. But that here, he reveals the Light Imprisoning Mirror is like, oh my god, I think we lose already. Because we don't have Cosmic Cyclones in this deck list. 0. So, something I would consider when you guys get your staples is to definitely consider side decking Cosmic Cyclone, just so you have a chance to get rid of the Light Imprisoning Mirror and other cards that really impede you from playing, so just to have a chance, right? So, but when he flipped it up and I knew my list, I was like, I knew I had no chance at all. So I still get a Blue Eyes, but that trap was a Canadian, so there's nothing I could do at this point. He's just doing his invoked plays. And there was, I was just staring down at 3 monsters. There was nothing I could do. And from there, unfortunately, I just lose. So that's it for the replay section. I will jump to the post edits for the build section. What do I would improve for the deck? Thank you. I'll just say the balanced version of the deck is not the way to do it. It is definitely not the way.
Just wait, Pharaoh.
So I showed you like the alternative evolution. This was just minor upgrades, right? But also another version that's been doing fairly well is the Ultimate Dragons version. Doesn't run the Whitestone of Legend, just runs this similar, I'd say it's a very similar shell, because it's really 17 cards that are staple, so 15 card staple, and then 5 cards of your choice. So I went with 6 at the moment. So normally I've seen players be like Karma Cuts and Book of Moons. So those remaining 5 cards being your form of defense, so be it. But with because Ultimate Dragons puts a Twin Burst into our deck already, we don't need to put a Twin Burst into this version of the deck. I can just do straight Synchros and Exceeds. This version of the deck does have a higher ceiling, but from what I've been told, it has a lower floor, because if you don't have access to your alternative, you just don't have access to your alternative. So I'll just show the skill very quickly. So it adds the Ultimate Dragon Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Twin Burst, and then by revealing 2 Blue Eyes in your hand, the dead ones, you get a poly out of it. So that's nice in card advantage, and it can be used to get Twin Burst and some other niche things, right? But it can be used for other reasons, like get the poly, and it's another discard target for Karma Cut. So it's fairly, fairly good. Before I forget, another card, if you do go into the Infinite Ray box for the Hieratic Exceed, Santa Font is this guy. So number 68, Santa Font the Sky Prison. It's fairly niche at the moment, so it gains 100 attack for each monster in the graveyard. Once per turn, you can detach a material until the end of your opponent's next turn. This card can be destroyed by card effects, and neither player can special summon monsters from the graveyard. This will definitely see play in the future. Not as much play now, I think, but for decks that come out that are really reliant on special summoning for the graveyard, this card will definitely see play. For sure. Another option to beat the mirror match, I should put it in actually. Gigantic Castle. Is this guy, the Gigantic Castle. So it's a tuner plus one or more non-tuners. So this card gains 200 attack and defense for each non-tuner synchro material. So you just used for the one, but it takes it from 29 to 3100 already. So you can really do something like, this is just the basic upgrade of what I had in the tournament list with more upgrades, right? But if you do go into the selection box, this is something of consideration. Where is it? So I apologize. Where is it? I couldn't spell it right. So it's Dragluon. So it requires 2 level 8 dragons. Do note, if you wish to activate its effects, you must control no other monsters to do so. So either you special summon a dragon from your hand, target a dragon type monster your opponent controls, take control of it, or dragon type monsters your opponent controls can't activate their effects until the end of your opponent's turn. Oh, it's pretty neat. Like, if you go into the selection box, like, this is an option. But I wouldn't say it's like mandatory. It's not a mandatory option, right? Oh, just to also note, I would also adjust the side deck even more. So after like those refinements, right? Where is Makos? I'm so sorry, I can't find things today. So maybe if you like your spell lineup you feel is fairly fixed, right? And you face something like, Thunder Dragons or something fairly aggressive. I've seen people play at least 2 to 3 copies of Hallowed Life Barrier, so that would get you to the 7. I think Chaos Hunter is still fairly good, against like Weather Painters and other decks that also this can do very well against Thunder Dragons because it denies the banishing like outright, right? So, and the DNA Surgery is mainly against Noble Knights because their equip spells don't really work against They don't work for stuff that isn't warriors. That's what it is. So anyways, I hope this has been a enlightening experience for you. I hope you guys have learned a lot more, you know, with this part compared to the first part, because the first part was just getting the pieces together to start building this. Now, I hope I've given you guys a foundation for a competitive Blue Eyes deck, and what I've shown you so far is just like side deck cards that you can get free to play like right away. Like there's other stuff like you can't get free to play right away, like Necro Valley and all this other stuff. Like, but that's another story if you can afford it entirely. So once again, this is Jason, your new player helper and moderator from DLE, signing off. See you guys.